On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We have a weird situation here, and I've got some good citizen journalists out there doing some excellent work that seem to have figured out who the individual is, but the government, well, they seem to be telling us it's potentially someone different. We're going to talk about it. I don't know. They're supposedly going to have genetics to be able to tell, so we're going to get into the story. A few things have broken from this. I got some interesting stuff coming around with the appointments of Gates and also Hegseth, and we've got some stuff that the House is kind of working on, some weird shenanigans going on right now. I don't know, a lot to talk about. Pretty cool show today, I think. At least it was fun for me to kind of learn some of this stuff, but let's get going, Let's rock and roll. Whoops. Let's pull this up. First off, this is a great place to start. I just want to say there's, a lot of women are protesting the fact that we won the election, and they're doing some crazy stuff. And I just want to remind everybody out there, these are people that will likely never have children. They will never reproduce. They will never create additional versions of themselves. Be grateful. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
You've heard of the 4B movement, leftist women withdrawing themselves from the dating market and adopting celibacy to protest against Trump winning, and nothing of value was lost. Now some of them are taking it more than one step further.
Yeah, what's this appointment for?
A consultation for sterilization.
25-year-old Eden Ixora, who reportedly creates content for OnlyFans, told Newsweek the idea of getting pregnant was worse than death. Getting a bilateral salpingectomy, which is a procedure to have both of her fallopian tubes removed. Ending your own bloodline because an election result didn't go your way. Yeah, because I'm sure Trump's just itching to sign an executive order banning leftists from sterilizing themselves, thereby ensuring Democrats produce more future voters. Trump's repeatedly said abortion's a states' rights issue. He's explicitly stated he not only wouldn't pass a federal abortion ban, but that he'd veto one. Orange man bad, or something.
Or something is right. So again, these are people that won't vote. So cool. And then again, right now it's kind of cool, if they got pink hair, blue hair, or shaved head, probably you don't want to get involved with them too. Again, there's a lot of wonderful things people on their side of the fence are doing that is ultimately making everything better, kind of, just in a backwards way. Scientists are slammed, and they rightly should be. Now, what's funny is the Daily Mail, I think, misses the story, which is, of course, what the Daily Mail is about. They put spin on things. So they spin it in a different direction, trying to get you off the case. But I'm here to hopefully get us back on the case. So they're slammed for publishing a recipe to create a mutated flu virus, as skeptics warn it could cause another pandemic. Now, again, one thing that's awesome about Daily Mail and the other one, the Telegram too, there's three of them. They're all crap rags. This guy, what's the other one? This is Daily Mail and whatever. They suck, and they always lie in the headlines. But again, they've got interesting info inside. So, headline, lie. Scientists have been slammed for publishing a recipe to create a mutated flu virus. They, once again, speak it once more into existence. Experts at the Scripps Research in California took a strain of H5N1, the bird flu virus that infected cows and farm workers in Texas earlier in the year. The H5N1 is a strain of flu that was originally found in birds, but it can infect livestock such as cows as well as humans and has already killed people. All sorts of scary stuff right there. Awesome. The experts who described their method in a study added mutations to the Texas H5N1 strain to increase the virus's potential for human transmission, reports the Telegraph. Again, another crap source. This is, by the way, the story. We'll come back to it. This is the story. Deliberately adding mutations to the Texas H5N1 strain increased the virus's ability to bind to human cells to near pandemic levels. Dr. Philippa Lentsos, a biological threat researcher at King's College London, warned the study could give people ideas on how to create a human-made pandemic. That is the headline. That is the bullshit part of the story. Most people don't know how to genetically modify viruses. But this is what he's worried about. This could give people ideas on how to create a human-made pandemic, essentially. Not the fact that they mutated the virus to be more virulent towards humans, which is gain of function. So These researchers gave it gain of function, and then people are pissed off. Well, that might teach people that you can make viruses more dangerous. Again, this is how they do it right in front of you, right? They took a legitimate story, and they're like, we got to spin this away. So this is the problem. Other people know how to do it. Well, most people are going to throw up their hands on their shoulders, shrug, and be like, I don't know how to change viruses. Screw that. It's not a problem. Now, the U.S. is ordering the mandating bird flu testing of the milk supply. Pandemic is coming. They're going to do their best to start it. This is what they're going to see. They're going to see that this virus exists all over the place in milk. Anybody that's had any milk, possibly we'll see. Anybody that's had any of this tainted milk, well, you better get yourself checked. They're already trying to get us there. They're going to be testing this all over the place. At least 3 crap states, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and Oregon. Apparently, they're planning on involving monthly or weekly sample collections from bulk milk tanks and dairy processors. It's going to be rolled out first in California, Colorado, Michigan, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and Oregon. The latter 3 states have not reported bird flu infections in dairy cows. So California, Colorado, Michigan, obviously some of the bluest, nastiest states out there. Mississippi, not sure what you're doing. Pennsylvania, fits. Oregon, it fits. They're trying to start a pandemic. The raw milk brand favored by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is facing a recall in California over safety concerns, just as the CEO is posed to join the Trump administration at the behest of the former independent presidential candidate. Mark McAfee, CEO of Raw Milk Farm, he says he's been asked by Kennedy's running mate, Nicole Shanahan, to apply for a role at the Food and Drug Administration as a raw milk advisor. It's a good idea, too. So we can see some of what they might be trying to do. And they might be trying to get out in front of some of this, or at least keep RFK Jr. so busy or disempowered, if you will, because we're going to be in the middle of a pandemic. So who the hell is going to listen to you about health stuff and food? The deep state does not want to let go. They won't. They're going to fight every step of the way. Fears of a mystery Congo disease are already in America now, apparently, as a bunch of Africans have made it to Ohio, and now there's hospital quarantines going on. Some unknown flu illness that has somehow come into our country via people that haven't been tested properly or anything else under the sun. Just let everybody in because, that's how you do it. Kind of what we did to the Native Americans, by the way, when we got here and we had our, what was the sickness we had? I forget, it's not like polio, but some sort of a weird flu type thing, and we ended up getting them all sick because they didn't have any antibodies against it. Killed off like a huge part of their population and then hit them up in the wintertime for food. And so the story goes. Sergei Lavrov, we've got a couple parts here. I wanted to start here because of the way the world's spinning, but we've also got a discussion he was having with Elon Musk, or not Musk, I'm sorry, with the old Fox guy, Tucker Carlson. And that was pretty powerful. I think I actually have that pulled up next, but we're going to start with the first part of their interview, and it was a short little snippet about how we're already at war with Russia.
Do you believe the United States and Russia are at war with each other right now?
I wouldn't say so. And in any case, this is not what we want. We would like to have normal relations with all our neighbors, of course, but generally with all countries on earth, especially with the great country like the United States. President Putin repeatedly expressed his respect for the American people, for the American history, for the American achievements in the world, and we don't see any reason why Russia and the United States cannot cooperate for the sake of the universe.
Yeah, it would be nice to see us get along. I 100% agree with that. Now, here is the part. Now, this is Russia's message to the West through the hypersonic weapons. This is relevant for a lot of reasons. One, they hit sites that were actually protected by some of our missiles or anti-missile missiles. These things are hypersonic. They're way too fast. They're coming in at just insane velocities and multiple MIRVs, multiple vehicles coming in simultaneously. So just, I'm not saying they could take us. I'm sure we've got all sorts of weapons and we've got plenty of submarines parked off their coast. Nobody wins a nuclear war. Nobody wins a nuclear war. how about a game of chess or checkers or whatever the hell Whopper said at the end of that movie. Russia's basically saying, look, here's the deal. You can't beat us. We don't want to fight you in a nuclear war. I mean, they don't really say we can't beat you, but nobody's going to win at all. And I thought it was just a powerful few minutes of him talking about it. Check it out.
Right of their own people.
I want to go back to what you said a moment ago about the introduction or the unveiling of the hypersonic weapons system that you said was a signal to the West. What signal exactly? I think many Americans are not even aware that this happened. What message were you sending by showing it to the world?
Well, the message is that you, the United States, and the allies of the United States, who also provide this long-range weapons to the Kiev regime, they must understand that we would be ready to use any means not to allow them to succeed in what they call strategic defeat of Russia. They fight for keeping their hegemony over the world, on any country, any region, any continent. We fight for our legitimate security interests. They say, for example, 1991 borders. Lindsey Graham, who visited some time ago Zelensky for another talk, he bluntly, in presence of Zelensky, I think, said that Ukraine is very rich with rare earth metals, and we cannot leave this richness to the Russians. We must take it. We fight, so they fight for the regime which is ready to sell or to give to the West all the natural and human resources. We fight for the people who have been living on these lands, whose ancestors were actually developing those lands, building cities, building factories for centuries and centuries. We care about people, not about natural resources, which somebody in the United States would like to keep and to have Ukrainians just as servants sitting on these natural resources. So the message which we wanted to sell by testing in real action this hypersonic system is that we will be ready to do anything to defend our legitimate interest. We hate even to think about war with the United States, which will take, nuclear character. Our military doctrine says that the most important thing is to avoid a nuclear war. And it was us, by the way, who initiated in January 2022 the message, the joint statement by the leaders of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, saying that we will do anything to avoid confrontation between us, acknowledging and respecting each other's security interests and concerns. This was our initiative. And the security interests of Russia were totally ignored when they rejected, about the same time, when they rejected the proposal to conclude a treaty on security guarantees for Russia, for Ukraine, in the context of coexistence and in the context when Ukraine would not be ever member of NATO or any other military bloc. This security interest of Russia were presented to the West, to NATO and to the United States. In December 2021, we discussed them several times, including during my meeting with Tony Blinken in Geneva in January, late January 2022, and this was rejected. So we would certainly like to avoid any misunderstanding. And since some people in Washington and some people in London, in Brussels, seem to be not very capable to understand, we will send additional messages if they don't draw necessary conclusions.
Trump is going to be the guy that obviously gets this back, but the deep state, our government right now, is desperately trying to escalate this war. They don't want Trump inheriting peace and prosperity and running with it because everybody will be able to see the truth. They want calamity. They want chaos. First off, I love the way the dude couches his words carefully. Two, his English is phenomenal. And I just think it's very powerful that he is able to speak this in our language, and I think it's important to give him the voice. So I'm glad Tucker's doing it. I certainly wanted to reiterate it or echo it. Russian general makes rare call to top U.S. military leaders. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles Q. Brown Jr. I know we've debated some on whether or not we think he's good or bad guy. It's funny his name's got Q in it, and there was a lot of talk. I don't know. We'll see whether he's good or bad. We'll see if he stays in his position. The case is he's at least reestablished communications with the new Russian General Valery Gerasimov. He was recently, the other guy was let go. He was lying. He was pretending that he was doing better than he was, and Putin found out about that and was not happy. Now, here's the thing. Russia knows this, and, well, now everybody knows this. Thanks, Jake Sullivan. But they've said right here, war with China would exhaust munition stockpiles very rapidly. This is fact of matter. We have given almost all of our extra stuff to Ukraine. So if Russia decided to truly attack us, because they've been actually at a war economy for 7 years now or something like that. I played it way back when. They are farther along in being able to produce massive quantities of munitions than we are. And everything we make, we give away. Well, we sell, whatever the hell. And they've been fleecing the hell out of that. We don't have any stockpiles for a war. Or very few. Now, Trump will change that again. But, and as Jake Sullivan was so kind to point this fact out, he didn't need to state it, even though I'm pretty sure every single intelligence agency in the world knows this. But this will be played poorly on the Biden administration yet again. Telling, quote, secrets like this is something you never tell the enemy, ever. Never. Now, again, does the enemy already know this? Yes, they do. They do. It's not like a secret. It really isn't, but you don't say it. So, yeah, we would not survive a war with any of these countries that have been able to stockpile weapons to any significance. We would, maybe nukes, we could probably get enough of those to land to cause the world to be so bad that it wouldn't matter. Again, I don't believe nukes are allowed, but the way this movie's playing out, we have to believe it does, I guess. Appeals court upholds TikTok ban. They're declining to block the law that would force the sale. So if TikTok doesn't divest from its parent company, they got like a couple months to pull this off, I think, then they are supposedly going to be against the law in the United States. Now, again, does Trump change that in any way? He can't just change it because I believe this went through Congress, which is, again, stupid and scary that they're going to start banning apps now because, again, TikTok gives away your information and anybody on, like, your phone. It really bothers me. Like, someone kind of close to me that's got my phone number and they're using TikTok on their phone. And it's just like, frick, man, this is like the worst. And that is, like, TikTok steals that stuff. It's not even you're being hyperbolic. It's like, no, they totally steal all of your contact information and every piece of data you've got stored on them. This is insanity. So, it's happening. However it plays out, we'll see over the next little short period of time. It's going to be fun. China also probably not going to be happy about that. Donald Trump truth this out tonight. I am announcing that former U.S. Senator David Perdue has accepted my appointment as the next United States ambassador to the People's Republic of China. Interesting guy. I'm sure he is fluent in Mandarin. All said, also a tough position to have right now, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say he is going to be very busy over the next little while? Probably. I'm assuming David Perdue is the perfect choice. I pray, anyways. Causes of the mysterious Havana syndrome finally revealed in declassified report, and why Americans should be terrified. So a government report has finally revealed what most of us have been saying all along, us conspiracy theorists everywhere. House Intelligence Committee has released a declassified report on Havana syndrome, stating that it appears increasingly likely that a foreign adversary could be behind some of the cases. The mysterious condition has baffled scientists since it was first reported in 2016, with more than 1,500 U.S. officials around the globe reporting symptoms like persistent dizziness, nausea, and balance issues that had no explanation. The subcommittee, chaired by Arkansas Representative Rick Crawford, says U.S. intelligence networks in Cuba and other affected areas should have been compromised by foreign spies in adversary countries like China, Cuba, and Russia. Could have been compromised. I don't know. I can't read today. Exposure to radiation, chemical agents, electromagnetic energy have all been blamed for the condition, though some experts have suggested the symptoms are psychosomatic. Yeah. No, it's electromagnetic almost for sure. Unlikely it would need to be chemical. Electromagnetic would be the easiest way to do it, and many frequencies travel through walls quite beautifully, so it wouldn't matter. Oh, they're inside a building. Yeah, so it wouldn't matter. They can, depending on the frequency, could go through the walls. And some frequencies just cause our brains to get all sorts of crazy. All sorts of crazy. Makes you very uncomfortable at the very least, and can make you stupid. I was watching a video. I don't think I shared it, but they were able to make this dude like move his fingers, like specific fingers. They had the entire brain mapped, and they were hitting specific. They just put this like weird magnetic thing on their head, and it would do like weird stuff to certain parts of the brain, and literally would twitch. He could twitch his feet. He could twitch his fingers. It's like, oh. So yeah, the crazies' abilities are definitely there. A lot going on, folks. I was like listening to a Cliff High thing with Jordan Sather and some other gentleman. They were on his show. It's spinning around right now. It's actually a pretty good show. Again, don't necessarily agree 100% with either of those guys, but I actually do pay a lot of attention to Jordan Sather and Cliff High. I think they're both wonderful people that are doing their job. I, again, don't always agree, but they are people that I think are doing their best to come forward with the proper information, the best they can. Jordan gets in trouble for kind of calling out people that I think sometimes need to be called out, and I'm glad he's doing it, and I don't have to, frankly, to be honest. It helps, because I think there's a lot of people out there that believe and think some people are really, really good that are really, really bad. Really, really bad. I mean, really, really bad. I'm just going to give one other piece of advice. If it attaches to anybody and gets stink on them, lo siento. The dinar, the Iraqi dinar, just so you know, this was a Bush thing way back in the day. When we destroyed Iraq during the war, we stole a bunch of their cash, and they've turned around and been trying to off this stuff forever. This all ties back to the Bush dynasty, okay? None of this is actually legit. All the people pushing dinar shit right now are scammers at best, and likely tied into some of these family back in the, again, just saying, the dinar is not a legit thing. Stay away from it, folks. I'm not saying get it gold instead. I'm not trying to sell it like that either. You can invest your money in whatever you want. I don't think there's a thing where you can get out of your 401k or your IRA and go straight into dinars. I don't think that exists, especially tax-free and penalty-free. I can get you into precious metals easily. Well, my great friends at Goldco can. I'm a Goldco partner, proud to be. You're certainly helping the channel also, but you're helping yourself in a major way. Whenever we go through calamities, and have in the past, historically, silver is one of the funnest ones because it spikes and then kind of goes back down to normal price, spikes and then goes back down to normal price. Gold has continued to go up since we've decoupled from gold way back when. Like, I don't know, was it Roosevelt that initially did it? And then nobody was allowed to own gold, and you had to give all your gold to the government. So they told everybody the price of gold, I think it was like $35 or something like that. And they're like, okay. And then immediately after everybody gave back their gold, except the rich people, they then upped the price like $8 or something weird like that. So instantly inflated the money a bunch. And then from that point forward, we've just been creeping up. And every time there's a calamity, gold spikes, but it doesn't come back down. Gold is the hedge. Gold is the floater that is really like kind of the one of many things that actually is valuable and has always been and actually shows what's happening to our dollar. Silver is so questionable because there's a number of uses for it, and there's a whole lot of other things that people claim as part of that Cliff High stuff I was listening to. Whole lot of other things they're claiming it is and should and can be used for. And if that's the case, then yeah, silver, the prices of silver could definitely skyrocket a lot. So it's funny, and that's one of the cool things about Goldco. And again, none of this is factual, okay? There's just a bunch of stuff that's being thrown around, okay? Goldco, what they do is they help you through this process, okay? They don't believe any of the crazy crap I talk about. That's not it at all. But it is important to talk about all these crazy things that are happening because some of it's true or it's sort of true to a point, and maybe not to the extreme, but we're going through a weird time right now. The spikes are happening. We're seeing the prices. We're not anywhere near where silver's hit the cap of multiple times. The spikes we've had in the past, it hits a specific area, and when you look at all the times it happened, you see an actual consistency at where it goes. Right now, we're like halfway up. Gold's a totally different thing. If you've got a 401k or an IRA, you're tied to cash. Cash right now is not, because of inflation, it's not the best thing in the world to have. It's doing very poorly as far as a vehicle to hold wealth. And that's what your 401k is. It's a wealth holding and hopefully making vehicle. And they're having a hard time. Stocks are a whole big question too unto themselves. All that said, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. At least get the information on how you can get out tax-free and penalty-free of their system, getting out of their system, and you put your wealth into something right now that's in the middle of a spike. Now, where that spike ends and how, if there's a multiplier, don't know. But Goldco can make that process incredibly easy and certainly answer your questions. Again, they don't believe all the crazy crap I talk about, but they can answer all your questions when it comes to what's this doing, why are these fees here, like what's this cost, like ask away, ask them everything. Because there's a process to doing this. It's physical metals. They literally buy physical metals and put them in a trust. There's a lot of things to talk about and a lot of things to look at. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let my friends at Goldco help you. Up to 10% of free silver to the face value of your 401k or IRA. Up to 10% of free silver, instant match. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Now, Judge Thomas overrides Judge Kagan in a COVID-related First Amendment case where RFK Jr. serves as counsel. This is kind of a trip. Senator Court Justice Clarence Thomas on Wednesday overrode Justice Elena Kagan in a high-profile First Amendment case involving COVID-19 regulations, basketball legend John Stockton, and putative Donald Trump administrative cabinet nominee Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Stockton is the lead plaintiff in a fast-paced litigation that aims to avail the free speech rights of physicians who, in the original petition's words, quote, speak out against the mainstream COVID narrative, end quote. The lawsuit was filed in the spring and subsequently shot down at various stages in the federal system. Using a different procedural vehicle allowed the plaintiff to quickly file an application for an injunction pending appeal with Kagan in late October. The Barack Obama-appointed jurist declined to do so without a word in late November. Now, an admittedly long-shot effort to convince Thomas to overrule his colleague on the bench has panned out and managed to keep the case alive, for now at least, with the nation's highest court. Stockton's attorney remarked on the dime-turning change of fortune, quote, I think it is very unusual for renewed application to be granted and to be set for conference. I'd like to think that Justice Thomas understands what a fundamental issue this is and that the Supreme Court needs to tell the country whether there are any limits to medical boards controlling physicians expressing their dissent to government health policies and its view of science. Pretty powerful, because doctors should be allowed to offer what they've noticed with patients and a number of things along those lines, like direct things, not necessarily speculative crap like, well, I don't think the viruses do, like, right? Like, you're not a virologist, right? You're going to have a hard time making that argument. But what have you seen amongst your patients? Does ivermectin work? Has it? Well, let's talk about that. Well, you're not allowed to. I'll take your license away. That's the kind of stuff that they're supposedly talking about here. So we'll see. This is a pretty big case. Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson. She's been arrested on federal public corruption charges. Money laundering. I think there was like 5-6 counts of that. Let's see. 5 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds. Oh, no. So, yes, the indictment alleges that Fernandez launched a kickback scheme by hiring someone related to her in late 2022. It's further alleged that she falsely represented to the city that she and the staff member were not related. Oh, that's fraud on many levels. As part of the scheme, Fernandez Anderson allegedly agreed to pay the staffer a $13,000 bonus on the condition that part of it would be returned to her. U.S. Attorney General Joshua Levy said that the bonuses were more than twice as much as what the rest of her staff was making in combined bonuses. Fernandez Anderson accepted $7,000 in cash kickback withdrawals from the staffer during a meeting in the bathroom in Boston Hall on June 9th. Text messages were obtained. This chick's, she's gonna be busted. That's all there is to it. Adam Schiff is resigned from the House effective December 8th, so a couple days. California Senator-elect Adam Schiff submits his resignation to the House on the 8th. The 9th, he will be sworn in to the Senate. Again, this is somebody that got paid off, and probably, like they always said, the Senate was the important part, trying to probably protect himself. Probably. I mean, the deep state's probably trying to shove him into a place where he can probably do more damage than he could in the House, especially considering they're outnumbered now and he's sort of pointless. He's a hardcore deep state. You guys know it. Dade felons withdrawal from the speaker race. Ken Paxton's kind of calling it out. Attorney General Ken Paxton releases the following statement. Phelan's legacy is one of betrayal, prioritizing Democrat interests over his own caucus, leaving Republican members exposed, attempting a shameful impeachment stunt, and consistently failing to deliver for the voters who sent him to Austin. His so-called leadership disqualified him long before this moment. But make no mistake, the swamp isn't drained yet. Now the Austin establishment is rallying behind Dustin Burrows, a politician handpicked by Phelan and the Austin establishment to continue the reign of weak leadership and backroom deals. Burrows' record is clear. He rose through the ranks by cutting deals with Democrats and actively sabotaging conservative priorities. His loyalty isn't to the conservative principles that define our party. It is to the same corrupt power brokers who propped up Phelan. Burrows is Dade 2.0 and can only become Speaker by being elected by more Democrats than Republicans. Supporting Burrows is betrayal of the conservative movement. Voters will remember, said Paxton. I wanted to make sure I gave that some voice as well because, that's some crazy talk. All right, let's talk about this killer guy. Some interesting stuff here. First up, Brian Thompson, suspected killer. He arrived in New York City last month on a bus. He stayed in a specific hotel. We got pictures of him on the hotel camera. Now, the thing that's funny from the standpoint of DNA is they also saw on camera where he was drinking a Starbucks drink or something and left it someplace. They were able to pick that up, supposedly, as well. Now, this gets interesting in a major way. Some good people, Tory says, and again, Tory says is kind of involved in a lot of different things, and I don't try to get into the mix of it all. I take people for what they're giving and bringing, and I go based off of that. So her and this guy, chaos coordinator, I'm assuming it's a guy, it could be a chick. Her and this individual chaos coordinator, because I'm like horrible at guessing sex ever, but they have been, there's this Israeli open source, online available research tool that allows you to put someone's face and the way they walk into it, and it comes back and tells you who it thinks they are. And the gait we've talked about, it's the same people, but the gait is very specific. The way you walk is very specific to who you are. Walking is almost like a snowflake, and then when you take in a couple other accounts, you can almost guarantee, like it starts to get scaringly accurate. So we've got all this extra information. We've got a fake ID that he used at the hotel, and I think he came back a day later and used a different ID, so he's got a couple different IDs. We've got good facial look on it, and I don't know if the chick at the hotel was just being smart, and it sounds like she might have been, because she started kind of flirting with him, and said, I want to see your face. You got pretty eyes or something like that. And so he pulled his mask down. That's why he was smiling. He was flirting with her. But she got him to reveal himself. That was a smart move on her part. So they're going to process the DNA and find out who Brian Thompson's killer was, based off the water bottle, right? And so, of course, he did the weird stuff where they wrote stuff on the bullets, right? The bullet shell casings, I should say. They wrote weird phrases on them that resemble a book. That Feynman, I think, wrote. The dude was shooting an elongated pistol, likely had some sort of, not silencer, but some sort of something to suppress, and was likely also using underpowered rounds, either for noise reasons or just whatever, because when you use a suppressor, you run into a few problems. It just kind of doesn't give the back pressure that you need. I'm not a guns expert, but I've shot plenty of firearms and I've got a couple, right? But yeah, it doesn't give that back pressure on the slide, so it doesn't rack itself. So he is someone that shot this thing enough times because it was the second movement to just go ahead and rack it again. So he's shot quite a few rounds through this gun. There's just no question about it. Whether he's accurate, whatnot, or whatever. All that being said. So again, so many weird things around it. And then we got the picture of him. Now this was interesting. This was Chaos Coordinator kind of putting a little thing together. And I'll probably pause it because it kind of goes, in my opinion, a little too fast. But we'll kind of start with this. So internet, do your thing. Find this guy. So Chaos Coordinator, I did yesterday. I told the FBI with an anonymous tip. It's the same production company. Jack Barakat face and gait is the hit we got. So weird. So not only is his gait also this Jack Barakat individual, but his face matches as well. This is where, this is where it kind of gets interesting. So I have to get back to where I was, but yeah, I did yesterday, told the FBI. So we'll see. I got a little more info coming here. Now, they went somewhere and they tried to find one of these accounts. I don't know who G in time low is, but their account disappeared. So they're talking about witness protection. I think their Chaos Coordinator's kind of pointing like, we know this is an individual that's tied into this. So I think that's what part of this is, right? They're just kind of calling out, we know who's who. You guys keep lying to us. So we're trying to tell you, yeah, we know who the guy is. Now, this is where it kind of gets a little fun. So Jack Barakat, they eventually get to that account coming up here in a second. Here it is. Jack Baccarat. Oh, okay, so they're saying it differently intentionally. So Barakat, Baccarat, all right. But this individual, backup account for, here it is, at G in time low. Coming together. I didn't pull all these little factoids together at first. This is the guy that they have in the other picture. Let's see if I can find that picture. It's towards the front, right? This is the same guy as this guy. And the mouth and the eyes, the mouth, for sure. The nose, for sure. And again, I was saying they could have been Latino, but these, Israelis, very possible. They've got very Anglo features. But Jack Barakat, Baccarat, give a dog a bone. But this guy here, this isn't Jack Barakat. No, it's some other dude. And they're saying it's a possible match. You recognize this person? And Chaos Coordinator, once again, is like, it's not you. It's someone else. Someone who is facing allegations and voluntarily withdrew their case last month. Hashtag central casting. I am sorry this is happening to you. So it's a guy that looks vaguely similar, but not Jack. Now we've got one more piece here. Why are they not looking at Jack Barakat instead of this guy he was matched with, the Israeli software by gait and facial recognition? In late 2021, guitarist Jack Barakat was accused of inappropriate sexual behavior and sexual abuse towards female fans of a pop pop-punk band that allegedly took place when they were minors. Last month, he withdrew his own lawsuit for defamation. Why would he do that if he was innocent? Isn't that how they fed you when you're either in jail or facing charges? Has anyone looked into his migration here? This is just circumstantial based on Israeli software, based on gait and facial recognition. It warrants a good hard look. So some very good work has been done. We'll see what is and isn't, and we'll see what the feds post and who they blame for this, and we'll see. Federal law enforcement has been manipulating the suspicious activity report system to gain access to American financial information without warrants or probable cause, the House Judiciary has found. It's a good little piece here. Check it out.
Developing story now. House Republicans demanding answers from the Biden administration over, quote, alarming surveillance on you, the American people.
So documents show federal investigators asked banks to comb through transactions for terms like MAGA and Trump.
So those aren't the only phrases financial institutions were told to key in on in the aftermath of January 6th.
To put it all together, Brooke Singman, who has written the story on .com, joins us right now with details. Good morning to you, Brooke.
Good morning.
Brooke.
Hey, good morning, you guys. That's right. So House Republicans are now seeking answers from a former Treasury official after the agency told banks to flag consumer transactions that included terms like Trump or MAGA. Documents show that banks were told to search for customer data for other key phrases, including popular sports stores like Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, and Dick's Sporting Goods. Now, federal officials also asked those banks to comb through customer transactions for book purchases, including religious texts like the Bible and media subscriptions. Officials allegedly said those purchases could indicate extremism. Now, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, who is leading this investigation, says search of those transactions violate Americans' constitutional rights. Listen.
So it was big banks looking and searching private transactions using key terms at the suggestion of the federal government to find out what you're buying, what you're spending your money on. Scary stuff. All it looks like, without any warrant, without any legal process, they undertook this as a way to identify domestic violent extremism.
Jordan now writing a letter to the former director of Financial Crimes Enforcement Network saying, quote, FinCEN used large financial institutions to comb through the private transactions of their customers for suspicious charges on the basis of protected political and religious expression. Now, in a separate letter, Jordan asked FBI Director Wray to make a senior official available for an interview related to Bank of America. Now, that bank turned over customer data related to the purchases of firearms, hotels, and Airbnbs leading up to and after January 6th. So far, the FBI has declined to comment. Guys.
So it's pretty amazing, Brooke, is that it's not just, well, we're pursuing the answers in January 6th. You're saying prior to January 6th, people were looking for those keywords, right?
No, I'm saying after January 6th. So this all happened in the days after January 6th. And of course, we don't know if there was ever an end date to these searches. Of course, I spoke with a number of sources who told me that these searches and the federal government reaching out to the banks and asking them to hone in on these keywords like MAGA, Trump, right, looking Dick's Sporting Goods and things of that nature. They say that was happening before the inauguration to make sure that there was no type of violence. But there's never an end date, I'm told, from sources who are familiar with these documents on the search of these terms. So I think that's what Jim Jordan is looking for answers on from these officials.
Right. So it was open-ended as to the end because they didn't know when somebody might be done with whatever they were doing. Sounds like it was all part of the federal investigation. But Brooke, this all happened during the Trump administration.
Sure, it happened in the days after January 6th, of course, which was just 2 weeks, I guess, before the inauguration, January 20th. That is part of the Trump administration, maybe the Biden transition team, but I don't think that's really the issue here. It doesn't really matter which administration this is. I think what Jim Jordan is pointing to is the bureaucracy here looking into Americans' private data, right, private banking data, the federal government going into the private sector and saying, hey, turn over this data to us because we have a right to look through all of this. Of course, if they were looking to prevent some sort of attack or something of that nature on the inauguration, of course, that would make sense. But Jim Jordan says that Americans' constitutional rights are being violated here and we don't know if they are still searching for these terms in Americans' bank accounts.
And so many have been talked into accepting this because we're trying to catch bad guys. But as we've come to find out, most of the bad guys are the bad guys. So literally the fox guarding the hen house. And the foxes are the ones telling us, no, man, we got you. No foxes are going to get in. Trust me. Catherine Herridge posted this. House probe finds it increasingly likely a foreign adversary is behind mysterious brain injuries. So we already covered that. Havana syndrome. House Oversight Committee hearing about the U.S. Census Thursday. Chairman James Comer revealed population is being overcounted. We played something with Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday, but we're getting overcounts in typically blue states and undercounts in typically red states, and they kind of want to understand this better. So again, a lot of people we're in Congress and the House, we're having a big problem talking to the census bro about the fact that he's cheated or they got stuff wrong, whatever. He's like, we make mistakes. And he's like, why is it that your mistakes tend to favor certain political parties? That's just strange. It's so weird. Coincidence, probably, I'm sure. J.D. Vance is going to tour Helene, the recovery efforts in North Carolina. He's going to go up there and try to see if he can figure out what's happening, see if people are actually getting help, to get some information, because he's about to become vice president, and he actually wants to do something about stuff. You've not seen Kamala. In fact, you've not seen Kamala anywhere since she lost the election. I don't know what that even... Does that make Joe Biden a lamer duck president than he was before? Seems like he's even more lame because the person that was actually running for president to replace him lost. So I don't know. Something doesn't feel right there. All is what it is. Here's Hegseth telling the press to frickin' suck it, basically. I misrepresented this the other day. Well, I didn't misrepresent. I didn't fully report, I guess is a better way to say it. So one of the emails, this is why his mom was getting involved, because I was having a hard time with that. Apparently, it was her email somehow got leaked to the press. However, maybe she had said it to somebody and that she thought was off the record or whatever, and they ran with it and smeared him. So now she's had to come out and kind of fall on that grenade like a good soldier or a good mom. So whatever the case, I still, stand by what I said, that, all moms are when the killer's being taken to the electric chair, he'd never do it. It's like, we have him on camera. That's not him. And it's always some crazy sounding woman that created the crazy serial killing freak. Usually, right? Usually the mom and dad's a little sketchy. Or there's not a dad anyway. Donald Trump truth this out. Pete Hegseth is doing very well. I didn't even play the thing. I lost myself. How awesome is that? Yeah, let's play this 30 seconds first.
And I'm proud of what I fought for. I'm not going to back down from them one bit. I will answer all of these senators' questions, but this will not be a process tried in the media. I don't answer to anyone in this group. None of you. Not to that camera at all. I answer to President Trump, who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee. And I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family. I'm proud to be here. And as long as Donald Trump wants me in this fight, I'm going to be standing right here in this fight, fighting to bring our Pentagon back to what it needs to be.
What have your conversations? And I answered to any bartender and poly girl. No, I'm just kidding. No, Hegseth is awesome. I like how he brought his wife in kind of after. He's like, I feel like I'm missing some. Oh, yeah, my wife. Shoot. Yeah. I like Pete. I'm going to make fun of everybody, by the way, just so you know. I like these guys. Pete Hegseth is doing very well, is what Donald Trump is saying in his truth. His support is strong and deep, much more so than the fake news would have you believe. He was a great student, Princeton, Harvard, educated, with a military state of mind. He will be fantastic, high energy, Secretary of Defense, one who leads with charisma and skill. Pete is a winner, and there is nothing that can be done to change that. Secretary of Defense. That's interesting. That makes me wonder if that's actually in the QPOS. Let's do a quick Q search. I don't know. It's not obvious enough, but whatever the case is, Trump's talking crazy stuff. Love it. We've got Nunes was on with this gentleman. I'm drawing a blank on it, Kudlow, and he is, it's pretty good stuff, actually. Check this out.
But he broke through that Russia hoax and the so-called Steele dossier. And I believe that was under your direction as a committee chair. That was very important. I mean, that shows his power to get things done and investigate.
Yeah, you look, and that's why we remember he was, before he came to the House Intelligence Committee, where was he? He was at the Department of Justice doing what? Prosecuting terrorists, things that people at the Department of Justice should do. We brought him in because we needed that skill set. And I will tell you, had we not had him, and I think all the members of our committee, on the Republican side at least, would say, he gave that insight into how the Department of Justice worked, how the FBI should work, and what they should have been doing in the case of the Steele dossier, the Russia hoax, what they did not do. And I think the opposition that you see in Washington, D.C., in the Beltway, in New York City, it's all by the people who perpetuated the hoax. Right. They're the ones who don't want Kash Patel there because they were involved in not only criminality, but a cover-up, and all the people that are at the leadership levels of DOJ and FBI all knew about it, all were part of it, and didn't do a damn thing. And that's why we need somebody like Kash Patel who will actually clean stuff up and write the FBI.
Damn straight. Damn straight. Yeah, it's all the people that have been making the accusations. I got a story coming up here in a little bit that it's like they want to pass a law that says we can't go after the press, essentially, and they cite it as, oh, rich people sometimes will try to do this to get bad stories out of the press. No, you guys are passing or wanting to pass this because you're trying to protect the press. All these people that have literally made stuff up and ran with that smear campaign. That smear campaign, they didn't do anything to verify. They didn't play the source or anything. They do that wrap-up smear, and they play their part diligently. Well, those people, for ruining people's careers and people's livelihoods, those people should be sued for libel. And they should be sued for everything. And the actual network should as well. You see, in the original days when radio, just a quick side, you actually had to get an FCC license. I did. My very first radio job I had an FCC license with my name, right? I had my own license. I had to pass the test and do all this crazy stuff. The way it became is the station was licensed. Then they became responsible for whoever the hell they put on there. So you didn't need an FCC license anymore, just the station did. And that was kind of how they got around it. But that meant that the station had to make sure that you were controlled. So it's funny factor of how these games are actually played and what we need to make sure people are held accountable to. You can't just make shit up and then run around and act like that's actually verifiable, and you look straight at the camera and you're like, no, this is 100% true. That's as irresponsible as you can possibly get. Senator John Cornyn says he is confident Kash is going to win.
First of all, will Kash Patel be confirmed, as I expect he will be, but you're the guy who knows. What do you think?
Yes, he will be. People I have great respect for, people like Trey Gowdy, have recommended him highly. I'm still looking to schedule a meeting with Kash, but I think, certainly has a vast experience, including working on the House Intelligence Committee on the Russiagate scam and the Steele dossier scandal. So look forward to meeting with him. I met with Pam Bondi the next.
I still trip on Trey's name. That will never not be the case. Trey Gowdy will always stand as a strange name to me, but man, and a strange dude, frankly. But he's probably brilliant and stuff. I'm not trying to rip on him as an individual and what he's accomplished, just his goofiness of how he looks and his name, which are really stupid things to make fun of somebody for. Feels good. I like it. National Police Association, they're pro Kash Patel. National Police Association. Sounds like a union. Probably is. The House voted along party lines to table 2 resolutions that would compel the House Ethics Committee to release the findings of its years-long investigation into former Rep. Matt Gaetz, possibly bringing an end to outside efforts to force the panel to act. You know they're going to try to leak it, but they might not be able to. I don't know. The House shot down 2 separate resolutions on Thursday seeking to publish the committee's findings into whether Gaetz committed sexual misconduct and illicit drug use while in office. Oh, you guys got to be careful, you politicians. You know, a bunch of you all have done illicit drug use in Diddy's parties and Epstein and, whoever the next person's going to be. I don't know who they are. Anyway, the votes indicate that the report will likely never see the light of day as the Ethics Committee has remained deadlocked on whether to publish the report. Oh, there's so much stuff so much stuff's coming out. Fetterman, again, now this reminds me of the original Fetterman. I don't know what's going on, if it's a time of day thing, because a couple times lately, he's been I'm like, is he healed? Like, he's awesome. He just speaks normally, like a normal individual. This was more of not quite, he needed the machine right after the accident or surgery or whatever they did to him. But to me, he still sounds like he's got to put extra effort towards thinking, which I have to do sometimes too, it feels like. But Fetterman is responding to very interesting cases, the Hunter case and Trump's case in New York. And he's calling a spade a spade. I freaking don't understand what's going on anymore, man. Dogs and cats living together. It's pretty much where we're at.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now is that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like, now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Senator, many of Trump's...
It pains those View chicks so much to have to deal with somebody actually saying truthful stuff. Speaking of people saying truthful stuff, I'm starting to like Mayor Eric Adams. I don't know what the hell happened, but over the last little short period of time, I don't know, maybe since Trump won office, it's almost like the dude's got hope for the country. I don't know if you're getting any of that sense at all, but I sure as heck am. I'm curious what you guys think.
Would you ever consider rejoining the GOP?
The party that's the most important for me is the American Party. I'm a part of the American Party. I love this country. This is the home of the free, the land of the brave. My 19-year-old nephew died on the fields of Vietnam, protecting what this city and this country represents. And that's the party I'm going to always be a member of. And I did it as a police officer when I wore that bulletproof vest for 22 years. And I'm going to do it with this blue suit as the mayor of the city of New York.
All right. Well, we are looking forward to your meeting with the so-called border czar next Thursday. In the meantime, Mayor Adams, First Deputy Mayor.
Yeah. There's us that are like, hey, make America great again, and sounds very similar to what Mayor Eric Adams is talking about. And then there's the whole idea of, what checkbox do you fill? And that's kind of the Democrat Party right now. Doesn't sound like Mayor Adams is on that side. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading it. That's very possible. The Guardian put this out. Doesn't really mean anything, does it? The Elon Musk has emerged as the sole financial architect behind a provocative political action committee. This is epic. So a political action committee called the RBG PAC, Ruth Bader Ginsburg PAC, donated $20.5 million to Donald Trump. So much fun sometimes. Really is. Elon Musk is like, and I'm sure it's a write-off for him, right? So donating money for political purposes is probably an awesome, like, I don't know, I'm going to get reamed in taxes anyway. I might as well give some money out and see if I can save some of that. Pretty funny how that plays out. House Republican leadership convenes to talk reconciliation timing. This, to me, sounds shady. House Republican, and it sounds like they're trying to play it towards the MAGA crowd in like they're lying. I don't feel like they're being fully honest with us. Here, I'm just going to say that up front. And we'll read the story, maybe talk a little more, but let's see what you guys think. House Republican leadership met on Friday morning to discuss outstanding disagreements on how to kick off the reconciliation process, according to two senior Republicans. They were granted anonymity. So, we can trust it. Kidding, of course, for those of you that don't understand my sarcasm. House Ways and Means Chair Jason Smith was in Speaker Mike Johnson's office for at least an hour around Friday morning's vote series. Johnson's senior policy advisor, Derek Thierer, he was previously chief tax counsel for the Ways and Means Committee, was seen exiting the Speaker's office during that period. According to people who participated in the conversation, so you can't trust it, the focus of the discussion was how to address disagreements between Smith and incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune on how to kick off the reconciliation process, which would allow Republicans to pass trillions of dollars of tax cut extensions without Democratic support. Thune has said he would like to pass a non-tax reconciliation bill, including energy and defense policies, within the first 30 days of President-elect Donald Trump's new administration. Smith has pushed back on the idea, arguing that Republicans need to include everything in one big reconciliation bill to pass it through the House's slim majority. So Smith is the old way. Smith is a pile of trash. Smith sucks. Chair Jason Smith is a piece of shit. And what he's pushing for is what the deep state's always done. One giant bill, one huge rider, one amazingly giant bill that has thousands of pages of different little rioters and laws, and there's no way anyone could ever read through all of it. Rather than what John Thune wants and what Americans want, well, people that love America want, is bills that we can digest, that we can look at, that we can debate, and then vote on. And if I got to vote 15 times in one day, oh well, wasn't that much longer a day, was it? No. So the old guard is trying to, again, keep us from being able to do what we need to do. We've got to pay very, very close attention to anybody that's trying to keep us on that old path. So, in my opinion, Chair Jason Smith, you're a pile of shit, buddy. You better turn your tune around, turn the beat around, or else you will never get elected again, home dog. Ever. And who knows, God, if you've done anything illegal, it'd be a shame if that popped up into the public purview. Senators Ron Wyden, Democrat, and Reps Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland, matey. And some possible rhino, Kevin Kiley. Don't know, he might be a good guy, but I doubt it. He's a Republican, though, from California. Trusty. Or not trusty. Gotta be careful. Them granola eaters out there. Well, here. Granola is delicious, by the way. Just, yeah. And hugging trees is fun. You should try it. Thursday officially introduced federal anti-SLAPP legislation. This is the ones talking about protecting journalists. So we've got Jamie Raskin, the guy that's like literally pushing the Penguin out of the way so he can mastermind everything. He's trying to put this bill together that's protecting journalists from rich people trying to sue them so they don't give stories that are salacious. That's the argument they're using. And that's supposed to come to people like you. And you're supposed to be like, well, rich people, fuck those people. Yeah, you guys do that. And what this is meant to actually do is protect all the journalists that have lied about cash, that have lied about Hegseth, that have lied. That's what this is about. So hopefully, we don't continue to support that kind of behavior. Incoming FCC chairman's got a couple choice things to say. It's kind of cool. 37 seconds. He did a brilliant job being short and sweet. Learn from this guy.
Yeah, there's four main ideas that I've been talking a lot about in terms of the agenda that I want to run. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, I want to make sure I continue to work with the Trump transition team and make sure I understand 100% what their agenda is. But for my part, number one is looking at tech censorship. Number two, there's a whole set of media issues that I think deserve the FCC taking a fresh look at. There's third, a whole set of economic issues from permitting reform to spectrum to the space economy, where frankly, we've got to add some rocket fuel to that process. And then finally, national security. And I think particularly with Salt Typhoon top of mind for a lot of people, it's important that we continue to make progress there.
Oh, he's obviously like somewhere where the stocks just went crazy. I love that. Dude's like got this green screen background, but he's like on the floor in the New York Stock Exchange. I don't know if that's true. I'm making it up, but the noises in the background were very entertaining. Jack Smith moves to double dismiss his case against President Trump without prejudice. Doesn't that mean it's done? Or I forget if it's without prejudice means it's like it's going to stay on record, or with prejudice means it stays on record. I don't remember. But they dismissed the operative superseding indictment without prejudice. The clerk acted on the court's order, and the docket now reflects the absence of any pending charges against the defendant and classifies the case as closed. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think that one's without prejudice. I think that's the one, right? That they close the case. With prejudice, I think they kind of leave it in limbo. Maybe, I don't know. Fact check me on that, guys. Don't trust anything I say on that one. I'm not a lawyer. I like them as much as you have to. I have a couple friends that are lawyers, but yeah, I would never want to be a client. You don't ever want to use one professionally, but when you do, you want a good one. Years ago, I spoke of LRADs. LRADs. So these are those little sound devices. So like whenever you got a riot going on, you can like point it at people and be like, it makes loud noise, and you're like, and you just instantly want to get away, right? You instantly want to get away. They're very powerful. They're usually a big giant panel, not giant, but a big panel. I don't know, 4 feet by 3 feet or whatever the hell. Like pretty good sized rectangular panel. I'm sorry, I put that in meters for all my European people, but I don't want to hurt myself. 2.54 centimeters per inch. There's calculations I got to do. Outside of that, it's just, a little over 3 yards per, doesn't matter. Or it's over a yard. Anyway, all said. Dan, shut up. You're going to be even dumber. LRADs can also be used at different frequencies, and one of the things that can happen with them is they can actually aggravate people. So you can put a low rad, or an LRAD, on like a low dose, if you will. Not loud enough to be like, and you want to try to get away, but just slowly, like a frog in a pot, right? That you slowly bring into a boil, and they can kind of bring it up. And what starts to happen is people in the beam start to get angry. And all of a sudden they want to push down barriers, and all of a sudden they want to punch people in the face because they're getting angry. And if you do it kind of like a mosh pit, right on the people that are right next to the boundary or the cops, and you start to aggravate them, maybe even the cops too, they start to say things to each other, and boom, eruption happens. That's all you need is the first shot fired, first stone thrown, first barricade flipped over, whatever. Everybody's so tense, all it's going to take is one action. One action. These LRADs are going to be out in front of Notre Dame's thing when Trump shows up. Possibility they might be used to help aggravate the people outside that might already be protesting. Wouldn't it be weird if while they're inside that church, some crazy thing happens that creates a problem, right? And I'm sure they've got these contentions dealt with for the most part, but things could get out of control pretty quickly, and LRADs can be used for those exact same things. Secret Service sources are pissed off about this little fight that they had in there. A lot of people are questioning what Roe was actually doing on 9/11, the actual day. He made a big damn deal about it, grandstanding like he did, but a lot of people served and helped during those times. There was this talk about where most people that actually did go and help had to go to this location where the fresh bodies were at or something, and it just sounds really horrific. Yeah, and so he probably wasn't ever doing any of that work. What do they call it? It's called Fresh Kills Landfill, and it was not at the World Trade Center itself. This is from somebody that I think kind of knows what she's talking about. Fresh Kills Landfill is, I don't know if they're looking for people or if they're trying to identify corpses, and they've just got a big old stack of bodies that they're trying to work through. Like, we need help. We need help photographing these people. So if you're going to donate time, here's where you're going. So they're like, what did he do? What did Roe do? So a lot of Secret Service people are they said incensed. Incensed and peppermint. Again, good bangs. Good bangs, buddy. I like the bangs. That's just trying to be disrespectful. Best I can, anyways. I mean, maybe he's a good guy. Hard to say. MyPillow.com/OTF. I got the box today. I went downstairs to refresh my beverage, and I looked outside. I'm like, what the hell is that giant box? That giant box was MyPillow. I got 2 king size in there. I got 3 towels. I don't even sell the beach towels anymore. They're gone. I got 3 of them. That's cool. I also got some dish towels that I paid $5 more than you would have to now. That's really weird. MyPillow.com/OTF. MyPillow.com/OTF. Right there could have saved myself $5. I did use my code, by the way. I used my code and put my order in. How fun is that? The towels are still the best towels I've ever used. Folks, $30. I'm telling you, get a 6-piece towel set. You got all the colors so you can switch them around. You ladies that like to do that. I don't know, most guys are like, oh crap, I should wash those. It's probably been 6 months and it seems crunchy. Like, that's kind of how we think sometimes. Not all men, just a lot of them. And they've got some really, really cool pillow ideas, pillowcases, pillow everything. They are my pillow. I mean, that's kind of makes sense. They got pillows. You can throw them on your couch. You can throw them at your people. You can beat people with them. And again, I got 2 of these bad boys. Yes, classic collection, king size. I can't wait. Tonight, I will officially swap out my 2.0 and try this guy out for a little bit and see what I think. I'm excited. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. Over $75. You're saving shipping. And they got like slippers. They got a whole bunch of stuff, by the way. Like the landing page is not even fair. Hey, you can get Mike Lindell's book. They were actually, back in the day, they gave it away in every box. You got his book. Don't tell them I told you that. Pet blankets, and they got the pet beds, all under $25. Such great stuff. Over $75, free shipping. Did I mention that? I know I did, but it's super important. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. Mypillow.com/OTF. Also understand these numbers up here, the phone numbers, order now, and customer service. These are actually like legitimate numbers for my channel. So if you're calling and you need help with your order or something, call the customer service. It'll get tracked back to me. It's a good thing most of the time, I think. Go to mypillow.com/ holy crap, mypillow.com/OTF. What's my gummies? What is that? Oh, I see. Okay. They got all sorts of cool stuff here. My coffee. I like how this is up here. Look at that. Your pet stuff. Look at that. You can buy all sorts. Wow, I didn't realize I had it that way. That's very nicely broken down. mypillow.com/OTF. Save a bunch of money. Over $75, you're getting free shipping, and you're helping the channel out big time. Love you guys. That's for sure. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Let's turn that off, and let's move forward. Canada bans more assault firearms, suggests donating guns to Ukraine, and they're now supposedly going to do something about the border. I just think it's kind of strange that while there's a higher amount of people in their country that are showing up in their country that they're trying to get into our country from that are probably not good people and likely have firearms already, and you guys want to go ahead and disarm yourselves. Canada, what's happening to you is exactly what happened to Australia. And the next time anything happens, well, you guys don't have much say at all. And we already saw what happened. The banks attacked you guys. The whole trucker thing, like we learned a lot of lessons. So I don't think getting rid of your firearms is going to fix anything from Make Canada Great Again standpoint. I just made that up. Either that or become the 51st and 2nd state of the United States. That would be cool. I'd like that. That'd be fun. It'd be weird. We don't have to worry about all these crazy little states and the Quebecois. Can you imagine how pissed off they would be? They would. I'm pretty sure they're going to be furious about that. The Quebecois. Not only, we'd have to say it in French too, just to make sure, because otherwise it'd be illegal. Romanian court annuls presidential election results and orders a new vote. So Romanian government had this overwhelming, sweeping red wave, essentially, red wave, nationalist as they were calling it. And they're like, whoa, something broke in the elections. We got to stop. We're going to do this again. Retry. We're going to do another election. We want everybody to believe what's actually happened. So, yeah, it sounds like Romania / whoever controls Romania is about to lose power, and they don't like that at all. There's been this funny little conservative right-wing push across the entire, well, I think a centrist push, frankly. It worked well. I think the left going as crazy progressive as they did actually pushed a lot of us more closer to the center together in reality than it used to be, because the divides were reasonable but not that much. But you could tell when you're talking to a different person. Right now it's like there's like the insane ultra left, and then there's like kind of everyone else, and you're like, yeah, all right, we get along. I like this. So France, again, people keep saying Macron might be done, but he keeps ditching his prime minister, and somehow he gets to stay behind. I don't understand that. Can we get rid of Macron instead? But Michel Barnier, He's resigning as the French Prime Minister. Macron will choose his replacement. Good job, Macron, because you've been just banging it up lately. If I remember, this is the second Prime Minister that you've had a problem with? Third? Well, not you, just the people. Like, you suck so hard that you shouldn't be allowed to choose anything. That's what I'm thinking. California state capitol has been evacuated after a bomb threat. Kind of messed up, but whatever. The weirdest part of this story in my mind, and one of you all, if you're friggin' somehow tied in with the California Highway Patrol, first off, I want to autograph Ponch or John. I'll take either. Either would be fine. But if you're in the Highway Patrol, why would they call you to come inspect the building? Why? Is it still in here? Let's see if we can do this. Let's see. The building Sacramento authorities determined there was a threat, is legitimate or not, so they were looking into it. State Senator Susan Rubio confirmed everyone was told to leave the building. Threat came in the form of an email sent to a Senate, so it's probably stupid. Email was allegedly sent to assembly members about the threat. Workers were told to work from home. Newsom is far from the area. Bummer. I mean, that's cool. California Highway Patrol is searching the building for threats and is working to see if the threat is real. California Highway Patrol? When did you guys ever become bomb experts? Ever. California Highway Patrol? Literally, am I missing something? We got FBI here. We got sheriff. We got SWAT. We got police. We got all these people that are actual bomb experts. Not Highway Patrol. Highway Patrol, experts in courts, experts at being safe on the highway, experts at maintaining those kinds of things, and experts at pulling bastards over. But they are not bomb people, to my understanding. Very strange to me. I don't know. Like, please, I'm hoping somebody like, Dan, you're an idiot. Please, help me. Help me, please. This is weird. Horrific, as he puts it. I guess, one man's weird's another man horrific. They experimented on prisoners without their consent, implanting chips in their bodies to modify their moods. So this is something that actually happened back in 2020, a neural chip implant that happened against prisoners. One, this actually is legal, but not right. Recall that the 13th Amendment created a legalized form of slavery. Slavery is when a man is owned by another person. Experimenting with people without their consent is a form of slavery. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. 13th Amendment. What assurances do we have that this technology isn't going to be mobilized against the American people in some ways that we can't guard against? How can the average taxpayer anticipate what's coming down the pike and petition their elected officials to ensure this technology doesn't become a threat? In the year 2020, IBM put neural implants in U.S. prisoners without their knowledge, reporting a great success in suppressing moods with 24/7 biosurveillance. This was highly confidential, but the documentation proving it was released via legal discovery in court. How else do you get information brought to the public? All of this stuff, all of it, needs to go through these legal processes so we can all finally accept it or come to terms with it and then do something smart about it. The jury in the Daniel Penny trial are telling the judge they can't reach an agreement on the manslaughter charge. They're pretty sure this is not going to happen. Apparently, there's a few people that are like, he definitely did kill him. That was intentional. And there's a bunch of people that are like, there's no way in hell. He was trying to help other people. And that's it. And that's good. Thank God. And so that would make it a mistrial. I don't know if they get to retry him. They probably do because it's not really double jeopardy, I think, right? It's just a mistrial and it's a giant pain in the ass. But that's what it's looking like right now. A Kentucky judge. And this is the judge that was shot in his chambers by, I want to say, an ex-sheriff or whatever. There was a lot of theories going around that the ex-sheriff found out that the judge had intercourse maybe with his daughter or something to that effect. What the story officially is, at least right now, is this judge had kind of a weird brothel thing going on. He was having sex with a number of different people. There was other people that were brought in to have sex with some of these people, and they don't specify whether anyone was underage, but there was this sextortion, meaning a lot of chicks that were getting busted for whatever, and it was kind of like, look, here's the way you're going to pay off your crime or you're going to go to jail. And so they would kind of be, I don't want to say hose for hire, but hose to pay off their legal problems. So this dude was probably being investigated by the sheriff or whatever, and whatever the case is, this dude kind of that shot him knew a lot more than he was letting on to, and he basically just said, look, I lost my mind in the moment, and I think this should be a manslaughter charge because I was crazy at the time. I never planned to kill this guy, but it just became a good idea. Whatever. So, kind of weird. A lot of allegations. This judge was quite possibly a bad guy. So So again, a lot of strange things are coming to the surface. He has met his demise, and unfortunately, I don't think that's cool, but these things are going to play out how they play out. Some people are going to have car crashes. Some people, this kind of great, like some people have the stuff like what happened with that CEO of the healthcare company. Like, I don't know. And then there's just some people are going to die from sicknesses, like my very good friend. And thank you guys, by the way. Nobody emailed me. Thank you. Thank you for just letting my wishes matter on that. You guys are, I was so happy. I was so friggin' happy that nobody emailed me. You guys are the best. But yeah, again, things are going to happen how they're going to happen. That's just part of this whole process that we're playing through. A lot of things to be concerned about, I'm sure. I think what's ultimately going to matter the most, as far as all of us, is how we respond to what's being presented to us. Are we freaking out and becoming emotional, or are we knowing kind of what's coming and, you know, bending and moving with it, bobbing and whatever's right? Like, I'm not a fighter. I don't know, whatever. Like bobbing and ebbing and flowing. I don't know, whatever. Just keep trying to say the same words over and over, Dan. See if they get better for you. That's definition of insanity. All said, I got a great music show coming up here just over 2 hours from my standpoint. This video will barely be out for those. Some of you guys are like immediately there, and I think that's cool. So for you early birds, I look forward to seeing you over on the live show. I hope you join us 3 p.m. Pacific Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. We do the live, usually an hour plus sometimes, but it's a lot of fun. And if you're really into chat and stuff, you'd be surprised. The community over there is very, very cool, and a lot of good people just hanging out and talking about stuff that has nothing to do with what I'm doing. That's for sure. Makes it interesting. But all said, we have got a ways to go. We've got some bumps in the night coming our way, but we're going to get through it. We're prepared as best we can, and we've got each other. And that's actually what really matters. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.